Welcome to Wisdom for the Wilderness, a weekly podcast by the pastors of Overland Church, where we discuss the Bible, theology, cultural things, and we take questions. And so this week, we're going to discuss actually a question that somebody had about Halloween. And should Christians celebrate Halloween? It's a timely question because this is coming out the week of Halloween.
Right.
And so this is like walking in a field of landmines because I am pretty sure that a lot of the people who are listening to this have different opinions.
Right.
And some have really strong opinions.
Mm-hmm.
And typically those who have strong opinions are those who think that you should abstain, that you shouldn't do it, and that people who do are practicing some sort of witchcraft or evil.
Yeah.
And so let's talk about it.
Well, we know what you think because you already have your lumberjack costume on for the episode. So
That's right. That's right. Now, how do you know?
You're ready.
How do you know I'm not going to cut some firewood later today?
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah.
So, it is such and it has been a question that Christians have wrestled with for decades. It's not an unusual question, but it is one of those things that is a little bit harder to answer than, say, the questions around Christmas and Easter, which are, Christian holidays, have a Christian meaning to them.
Yeah.
And so the fact that Halloween does have some legitimately demonic roots to it.
Yeah.
And that it has been turned into a purely secularized version of that, of some sort of holiday.
Right.
And it doesn't have a legitimate Christian meaning, especially for Protestants. We'll talk about the history in Catholic religion. But so it's a more complicated question than should you celebrate Easter or should you celebrate Christmas in a lot of ways.
Right. Yeah. And there's a lot that goes into All Saints Day and All Hallows Day that were spiritualized that I just kind of roll my eyes at in some ways because I'm like, one thing as a pastor that frustrates me is that when we take things and try to baptize it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Try to make it holy when it's not to justify doing it. And I just don't think you always have to do that.
Right.
I remember one time somebody gave me a CD, and it was a rock CD where they had taken certain rock songs and they had turned them into Christian. They're like, here, you can sing these songs now since you're a Christian. A non-Christian gave it to me. And I was like, man, if I just sing the song. Yeah. I would be okay with that. And I know it's not worship. I know it's just a tune. It's a song. It has no rule or control over my life. I don't have to change the lyrics to a Metallica song to try to baptize it.
Right.
If anything, I'd just say, hey, I'm not going to sing Metallica.
Yeah.
That's simple as that. So but man, there are some legitimate roots and things that we have to deal with. Other people try to make it about the Reformation because the Reformation's right at that time. And
October 31st, Martin Luther nailed the 95 Theses to the church door in Wittenberg. So, I mean, there is Reformation Day is the same exact day.
Yeah, and it's a day, obviously, I like the Reformation.
Right.
Super, super, super happy about the Reformation. But,
yes.
But again, I don't. Where's the wisdom come? Do we participate? Do we not participate?
Right.
Do we allow our kids to do it? Do we not allow our kids to do it? Does our church do something instead? Is the church doing something evil, or is there a legitimate reason to say, hey, let's try to, rather than keeping people from going into a dark environment, let's create a light environment where things are good and have a trunk or treat that's safe for kids.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? What should the church do and not do?
Yeah. Yeah, and these are difficult questions, and so you want to go to the history of Halloween a little bit. So,
you can go the historian.
Okay, so
tell us.
I mean, there's a lot of pagan festivals that happen in harvest time. Just in most cultures, there are pagan festivals that celebrate the harvest that often have intersections with the demonic and the dead and those types of things. For us in the English-speaking world, This came from the Celtic background to, Britain. The Celtics in Ireland and England and Scotland had a festival. I think, I saw you had it written down there.
Yeah.
It looks like Samhain, but I think it's pronounced Samhain or something.
Yeah.
It's has a totally different pronunciation.
But the belief that they had was that it was at the end of harvest, and that the spirits roam the earth.
Yeah.
In its ancient roots.
Yeah, and so then Christians, the Pope actually moved All Saints' Day from May to that same time period to October 31st and November 1st. Well, November 1st is All Saints' Day, and October 31st would be All Saints
All Hallows Eve.
All Hallows Eve. Yes. And so the Pope did that as a way of kind of trumping Celtic paganism as the gospel was going forth into Britain. So, this is what you're used to. Instead, let's do this Christian festival.
Right.
To give an alternative and a replacement to it. And so, but what kind of happened is you kind of had things from both then blend together in this kind of mix match of kind of pagan death celebration and a Christian festival. And then you bring it into the modern period, this short version of the history, bring it into the modern period, it becomes a business opportunity, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And
yeah,
so,
like most everything else.
Right. Right. And
know.
so, in our culture, it is a secular holiday. I mean, as Protestants, we don't observe All Saints' Day.
Right.
And so it becomes this, multi-million-dollar industry of selling you costumes and all this stuff. But you do have still this demonic tinge to it, right? You have a lot of,
and then there are people who really, in our culture especially, who really get into it.
Yes.
Who really get into the evil parts of it and celebrate the darkness, and there's the occult, and there's a real dark side of it.
Yeah.
And then the decorating. My neighborhood has all sorts of decorations. There's more decorations for Halloween than Christmas.
I like the Buc-ee's vampire in your neighborhood.
Yeah. Well, you should see. I have my direct neighbor behind me. You should see their setup. I mean, it's scary. Like all Halloween night. They're gonna hide out there and they're gonna scare people. And all Halloween night, we're just gonna hear screaming because little kids come by and they scream, and my neighbors love it.
Yeah.
And so, Do we do that? Should Christians do that?
Well, to go back to our last episode about grief, I think part of the reason people are doing this is because we have separated actual encounters with death. And so now death has become sort of a game or an identity or, those types of things. It's something we encounter in video games or in movies. And so it becomes kind of something innocent that people think, oh, it's not that big of a deal. It's something to play about. And unfortunately, it's not that.
Right.
And so, you want to talk about our family kind of way of dealing with it, or we want to skip on to that?
No, I mean, for sure. I would just say this, like we do see first, I would just want to say we should take no part in the works of darkness.
That's right.
And what's evil and what's fruitful, but rather expose them.
Yes.
So we should, as Christians, reject all forms of evil, witchcraft, the occult, violence, glorification of death. Any of those things we should reject, and we should take no part in them.
Yeah, if you come up to my house, you're probably gonna see some pumpkins and maybe some mums, and that
the
kind
flower.
Of yeah,
not mummies.
Yes,
because my neighbor has
right.
those, but mums,
the flower,
right, the flower,
the fall flower. But you're not gonna see
maybe
skeletons.
Maybe a hay bale.
Yeah, you're not gonna see skeletons. You're not gonna see monsters. You're not gonna see ghosts or even spider webs or those types of dark things. So we're not going to celebrate those things.
So, but then the question really becomes, should we let our kids dress up? Should we
Yeah.
let our kids go door to door and say trick or treat and get candy that they're going to have a few pieces of and we're going to steal a bunch of, and then we're going
Yes.
to hide it somewhere and it's going to get old and stale and then we're going to throw it away?
Right.
Like, how should all this work? Should you hand out candy? Should you be standing out there and handing out candy when trick or treaters come? Like, that's the real question that we have to answer here.
Yeah. And I think this is one of those conscience issues where Christians are going to make different decisions, and we have to be willing to allow people to live according to their conscience and not judge one another. In the same way that in 1 Corinthians and in Romans, the issue is, should you eat meat that's been offered to idols that you've bought in the marketplace?
Yeah.
And Christians landed on both sides of that.
Yeah.
So this is one of those issues. Us personally, we have always allowed our kids to dress up. We have taken them trick-or-treating, but we've had very narrow parameters on what we allow them to dress as. So I remember one of my kids wanted to dress like a ghost. And, as a parent, that would be a great costume because it's so easy. Just a white sheet, cut out some eyes. But we didn't allow him to dress as a ghost. So we allow them to dress from things that are, good, positive stories that, whether that's a movie or a book or things from creation or God's creatures or people that are honorable. If one of my kids wanted to dress like a police officer, then I would let them dress like a police officer. But I'm not going to let them have blood running down their face or that kind of type of scary, gory, demonic things and celebrate those things.
Right. Yeah. There is going back to like respecting one another's convictions, that this is something I want you to think through, and you should be convinced of, hey, this is what's right in my own mind, but realize like there is room here for someone else to make a decision differently than you.
Yeah.
Here's where I'm gonna say you have to make a calculated kind of decision.
Right.
Because here's what I've watched happen. I've watched families that are just like holistically, no, we're not going to do that. And they tend to have a legalistic tendency to them.
Yeah.
Right. And in that legalistic tendency, I've watched the kids just rebel from it. So they, as they grow up, they begin to resent all the things their parents didn't let them do. And so I would just tell you to choose those battles wisely.
Right.
And like, if you've got to make the decision, like, okay, I'm not going to let my kid have a cell phone, or we're not going to go do trick or treat, choose not letting them have the cell phone, because that's way more dangerous.
Right.
Than them dressing up, like Luigi or Mario and running door to door and getting candy. Right.
Yeah.
There's a bigger thing. And so when you major on the minors, you're going to lose.
Right.
You're going to lose the heart of that kid.
Yeah.
So if you just don't make a big deal out of it and you dress up, you go door to door and, okay, that was fun and we're done. Yeah. You're probably going to have way less issues in the raising of your children than going, no, this is a hard no. This is an evil rejection of the culture. We're not going to do it.
Yeah.
If you keep it light and easy. Now, obviously, we want to reject the darkness and the dark parts of it. And, if I've got a little kid, I'm not taking them up to a scary house. We're skipping that house. Let's go to the next house, protecting their little hearts in those things. And so that would be my advice to parents. And, you're going to make those decisions over the things, what you allow them to watch.
Right.
Or don't watch on TV. And the things you allow them to watch, 365 days a year, are going to have more influence than what happens on this one day, or what happens at school when, the whole school's had a costume party. And so, so you just have to kind of pick your battle there.
Right. Right.
And I would say, if you can, make it as an opportunity to use it become all things to all men that you might win some. To hey, we're gonna have some friends over and we're gonna have some chili and then we're gonna go hang out. And this is gonna be
Yeah.
fun for our family and we're gonna keep it light and easy. Then we're all gonna go home.
Yeah.
You got to make the decision: are we gonna give out stuff?
Right.
And for us, we always just would go with our kids for a little bit. So we'd actually leave a bowl out, a little sign. But now that my kids don't really trick or treat anymore, they don't. It's funny. Last year we had gone hunting, and so they came home and they were in camouflage, and so they just took off in their camouflage, dressed up as hunters, and got some free candy.
Yeah.
But I want to stand out there and I want to greet my neighbors and welcome. It's like what other time are my neighbors coming to my door?
Exactly.
Right. So I think it's a great opportunity.
Yeah.
To love on people.
Yeah.
Who are close to you.
You don't have to, give out like tracts or testaments. You remember testaments?
No, I don't. That's awful. That's the kind of like redeeming.
Yeah.
Like, oh, come on, let's not do that.
This is not. I don't think this in itself is the evangelism opportunity. I think it's a relationship building opportunity.
Yeah.
And so, last year I got something healthy, and Abe will not let me live it down. I got veggie chips to hand out.
That's ridiculous,
and
Josh.
Abe will say, you can't give out something that has veggie in the name on Halloween. So this year I've got to get, some good candy and
that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
What were you thinking?
It's because I waited until, that afternoon to buy something, and that was all that was left at Target.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Okay. But I think it's a great opportunity to just, when are your neighbors going to be out going door to door meeting you? I mean, just a lot of times they're zooming into their garage and shutting the door, and you don't ever see them.
Right. And so they're walking up
to
your door. So it's a good opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
Let's talk a second just about churches that choose to do events that direction. We've never at our church, we have a fall festival that's like a community event, but it really has nothing to do with Halloween at all.
Right.
We do the more traditional stuff, and it tends to be something that gets some neighbors that come. It gets some people that come. I just ran into somebody the other day in town. They were like, "Hey, what day's your fall festival? We want to come to that. We've been coming. That's and actually live in Wellington and drive down."
Wow.
And so I told them, it's a good opportunity, but it's not that. So you do have some churches that do trunk or treats, or they come up with some sort of creative thing. I do know that our college ministry has had something of like costume party. And I think our student ministry this year is doing a costume party. If I understand it correctly, they all have to dress alike or something. I'm not sure.
Okay.
There's some catch to it.
Yeah.
Should churches do that kind of stuff?
The last church I pastored, we did a trunk or treat. We did not do it on Halloween night. We did it usually, I think, the Sunday evening before. And I think that was a good model because we had a lot of people from our community that weren't normally at our church that came to participate, and they enjoyed the opportunity in a safe environment to do their Halloween traditions. And a lot of times this was very small kids that didn't want to, you didn't want to like hike long spaces, you're just in the parking lot. And so it was a good thing, but I also liked that we didn't do it on the actual day of Halloween because I don't want to get my people out of their community to do something different. I want them to be in their community in an opportunity like this.
Yeah, that I hear that and see why you do that. And then trying to compete with it is often
right.
Like that. And you also are in a very rural community.
Yes.
Which we're not in now.
Yes.
I grew up in a rural community where trick-or-treating was actually quite dangerous. and really wasn't
you couldn't walk from house to house.
Right. So trying to walk from house to house is what was dangerous.
Yes.
There's no sidewalk, there's no way to get off the edge of the road.
Yeah.
It was very inefficient because the houses are so spread apart. Like you had to drive anyway.
Be attacked by possums.
Or dogs or anyway. So we don't live in that. We live. Our culture is very much, man. It's the easiest neighborhoods in the world. To go door to door. It's safe to go door to door.
Yes.
So that's why I don't even, just in my kind of looking at our our culture of going, yeah, it's probably not worth our time. Let's just do something totally different. But
Right.
I do think with the same thing that the churches need to have the space to be able to make those decisions without us judging them
Right.
on, hey, there are plenty of things to look at a church and go, yeah, man, that's not helpful. That's not good. But we really do need to give others that space without like just jumping to judgment.
Yeah.
So I think I would just say, be kind to others, allow people to have a different opinion to you. Do what matches your conscience.
Yeah.
And you're just make it a thought through decision.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah. Well, in closing, you got a word for wisdom for us?
Yeah, just echo something that I mentioned already. I think this is an incredible opportunity to love our neighbors without an agenda. And I think the payoff for that is down the road. So build those relationships, show love, be a point of kindness and a light in the midst of everything. And you never know how the Lord's going to use that simple, just giving out of the Spirit of Christ, the fruit of the Spirit in that moment. How He's gonna use that down the road.
Yeah, I would say use it as an opportunity to disciple your children.
Yeah.
And at the right time, at the right stage and age, right,
Yes.
to use it as an opportunity to talk about the difference in good and evil and light and dark. And when they see the scary, when they see it, like to disciple them through it
Yes.
and to help them process, hey, what is this really that that house and their decorations is trying to portray? And so just
Yeah.
use it as a teaching opportunity. Well, thank you so much for joining us for Wisdom for the Wilderness. Man, we hope you enjoyed this episode. Just a reminder to not eat all the candy. It will rot your teeth out. It'll make you fat. And anyway, we love you, church. We love getting to live life, to pastor, to shepherd you. And we thank you for listening. And we hope that you'll listen next week. Go and be blessed.